I recently made a video on the forgotten TV shows of 1976. And today, I'm going to dive back into my list and look at even more forgotten TV shows of 1976. The criteria I used for my list was that the show had to premiere in 1976. First up, but in no particular order, Gemini Man starred Ben Murphy as a laid-back, denim-clad motorcycle riding secret agent Sam Casey. During a mission to retrieve a fallen Soviet spy satellite, Sam was exposed to radiation from an underwater explosion, which left him with the extraordinary ability to become invisible. Sam worked for a high-tech government think tank called Intersect, which quickly found a way to control his new power. Thanks to the brilliant scientist Abby Lawrence, Sam was equipped with a unique wristwatch called a DNA stabilizer. By pressing a button on this digital watch, he could vanish entirely, clothes and all, a handy trick for a secret agent. However, there was a catch. Sam could only stay invisible for 15 minutes daily, or the consequences would be fatal. The show was canceled after just 5 episodes, primarily due to low ratings and the high cost of production. And while 11 episodes were filmed, the final 6 never made it to air in the United States.
Tonight, we'll meet the Gemini Man. He's a secret agent and a super agent with the power to turn invisible. He's played by Ben Murphy, a handsome, curly-haired fellow you're going to like.
Gemini Man ran on NBC in 1976 from September 23rd until October 28th. Based on the writings of John O'Hara, Gibbsville was set in a small fictional mining town in Pennsylvania in the 1940s. The show follows the lives of 2 newspaper reporters. Jim Malloy returns to his hometown after being expelled from Yale and works as a cub reporter. Ray Whitehead, played by Gig Young, is a senior reporter whose once promising journalism career took him to larger cities. But his life was derailed by drinking, and he returns to Gibbsville hoping for a fresh start. The stories revolved around mining hazards and the love entanglements of living in a small town. Gibbsville premiered as a weekly series on November 11, 1976. 17 months after the TV movie that served as its pilot aired, but its run was brief. The 6th episode aired on December 30th, 1976, after which NBC canceled the series. 7 remaining episodes were never broadcast. After McLean Stevenson left his role as Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake on MASH, he signed a 1-year contract with NBC. Initially, NBC gave him a shot at hosting a variety special, but that didn't go so well. So the network switched directions and launched The McLean Stevenson Show. In this series, he portrayed Mac Ferguson, a hardware store owner living with his wife, 2 grown children, and his abrasive mother-in-law. The episodes focused on your typical family problems, but critics quickly pointed out the weak storylines. NBC had hoped that McLean Stevenson's popularity from MASH would attract viewers, but the audience never materialized, leading to the show's cancellation after just 3 months. The McLean Stevenson Show premiered on December 1st, 1976, and ran until March 23rd, 1977. Danny Thomas starred as Jules Bedford in The Practice. Jules is a grumpy, absent-minded, old-school doctor who genuinely cares about people, often treating patients even when there's no money to be made. His longtime nurse, Molly Gibbons, has a secret crush on him, and Helen, his young and wacky receptionist, adds to the chaos of the office. Jules' son, David, is also a doctor, but he's far less idealistic. David has a practice on the exclusive Park Avenue, and he is way more focused on making money than his father is. David tries to convince his dad to move his practice into David's office and share the space. The show came on as a mid-season replacement, premiering on NBC on January 30th, 1976, and ran for an entire year before being canceled in January of 1977.
Oh, if I ever saw a nose that was just crying. Join the fun. fun on the practice, starring Danny Thomas, Wednesday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain Time on NBC.
The Quest was a Western series that followed two brothers, Morgan, played by Kurt Russell, and Quentin, played by Tim Matheson. The brothers embark on an epic journey across the Great Plains and Rocky Mountains in search for their long-lost sister Patricia, who they believe is being held captive by the Cheyennes. Despite receiving critical acclaim, particularly for the strong bond between the brothers, the show struggled with ratings. The public's interest in Westerns had significantly declined following the cancellation of the long-running Gunsmoke a year earlier. The Quest premiered on NBC on September 22, 1976, and aired for 15 episodes before concluding on December 29, 1976. The Brady Bunch Hour was a variety show produced by Sid and Marty Krofft that starred the original cast members of the Brady Bunch, except for Eve Plum, the original Jan, who was replaced by Jerry Rochelle. And in my opinion, the premise is ridiculous. When the Brady family is selected to star in a new variety series, Mike Brady just up and leaves his successful architectural career and relocates the family to a beachside home in Southern California. And I just can't see Mike Brady giving up his architectural career. I just can't. Their neighbor Jack, played by Rip Taylor, often finds his way into the shenanigans and becomes a romantic interest for the family's maid Alice, which makes you wonder what exactly happened to Sam the Butcher. But let's soldier on. Each episode included the typical variety show song and dance numbers and comedy sketches intertwined with a behind-the-scenes storyline set in the Brady's home, creating a show within a show format. The show began as a 60-minute special titled The Brady Bunch Variety Hour, and that special did so well that 8 additional 60-minute episodes were ordered, with the intentions of airing them once a month. Even though people still loved the Brady Bunch and the variety show drew some pretty big stars of the time, it was a ratings flop. In 2002, TV Guide ranked the series number 4 on its list of the 50 worst television series in American history. See, TV Guide thought it was ridiculous too. The show ran on ABC from November 28, 1976 until May 25, 1977. Van Dyke and Company was an NBC variety show hosted by the legendary Dick Van Dyke that was designed to showcase his diverse theatrical talents. The show had guest stars in comedy sketches and even featured mimes, and introduced audiences to an up-and-coming comedian by the name of Andy Kaufman, who appeared as a regular. The series aired on NBC from September 20th, 1976 until December 30th, 1976, before being canceled due to low ratings. And despite its short run, Van Dyke and Company received critical acclaim and went on to win an Emmy Award for Outstanding Variety Series at the 29th Primetime Emmy Awards in 1977. And if anyone remembers this show, let me know in the comments, because I would watch a Dick Van Dyke variety show, especially if it had Andy Kaufman on it.
It's Triple Emmy winner Dick Van Dyke with a new look and a new show. Step lively with Van Dyke and Company, plus special bonus, top guests.
Sarah was set in the 1870s and follows the determined young school teacher, Sarah Yarnell, who decides to leave her life in Pennsylvania and move out west, settling in Independence, Colorado, where she becomes the only teacher in a one-room schoolhouse. Her students love her, but the unmarried and outspoken Sarah pushes back against ignorance and prejudice, much to the dismay of some of the more old-fashioned Colorado residents, who thought they were getting a more passive schoolmarm. Brenda Vaccaro, who played Sarah, received an Emmy nomination for her role, but despite the positive reviews of her performance, the ratings were low. Sarah ran on CBS as a mid-season replacement from February 13, 1976, and was canceled after the broadcast of its 12th episode on May 7th. On July 30, 1976, CBS broadcast Territorial Men, a made-for-television movie compiled from footage shot for the Sarah series. If you remember any of these shows, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe. And make sure to check out part 1. And I will actually be doing a part 3. There's quite a few of these shows from 1976. So make sure to check back. And thank you so much for watching.